Hello everybody and welcome to yet another Super Metroid hack. This is Super Metroid Escape 2 by, I believe, Hiroishi. The name had a question mark after it in the topic, so yeah. Anyway, this is a very interesting hack in some ways. Other ways, okay, so yeah, it does say Hiroishi down there. Anyway, this is post-commentated. I just sort of played through this, and thankfully I had some help. Before we get into that though, it has the intro scene, so we're just going to cut that out. It's the wonders of editing afterward. So anyway, I did have some help with this, which I'm actually very thankful for, because otherwise this probably would have been more like a YPR experience. And something to note, just fooling around in here, I could not wall jump off the side walls. I could wall jump off those platforms. It seems very random what you can wall jump off of and what you can't. My guess is that there's slopes that you can't wall jump off of, whereas any solid tile you can. I don't know for sure though. Like I said, it's very random. Doesn't seem to make too much sense overall. And Ceres has obviously been edited slightly. Some of the interesting things about this hack are, of course, the bosses. And you'll see stuff with those later. I don't even know about them. Anyway, in Ceres, you get to this point, it's like, where do I go? But there's a dead body lying in the floor that eventually, it's like, oh. And the dead body floats while we fall down. Oh, something else I want to mention right off the start. Whoever made this loves the color blue, because blue is everywhere. Blue is every tile set. It's everything. Even Ridley's eyes are blue. Seriously. This person has a strange fascination with blue. It's kind of weird. So now we get to see some of the more puzzle elements that are be happening with this hack. There's like long periods of dead space of me doing terrible or whatever. I'll probably be speeding those up or cutting them out. Oh, and something I noticed right there, in the middle of that room it stopped shaking, whereas it started back to the bottom. I don't know why that did that, but okay. But here's where we start with some of the more technical stuff, puzzle elements. Having to jump up these guys, which I do a wonderful job of doing. As you can see, I am mastering these things. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Otherwise, however, this is still pretty much the same, and you have plenty of time. I mean, I was goofing off of those platforms. Took a moment to notice the screen wasn't shaking in a certain spot. I still have about a minute left with this last room to go, so this won't push you for time much. You got plenty of time with it, thankfully. Which is nice. It would be doable in a minute, but it's nice that you had a little bit of buffer time. And blue powerbomb explosions. And stars. And yes, Planet Spore Spawn. And if you're not familiar with this hack, you will find out that is actually a very apt name. I don't know why I made the planet Spore Spawn, but also blue. blue, and blue, and a green background. Because, you know, there has to be some color in there. So there are some physics changes. You keep your running speed after running off a ledge, spin jumping, or even not spin jumping. Which is kind of weird, honestly, but it's okay. Like I mentioned before, some things you can't wall jump off of. Otherwise, I think the physics were mostly normal. There are some changes to Shine Spark, which we will get into much later. And those, for some, those might be the highlight of the hack, honestly. So we'll hold off on spoiling that for now. So yes, this is not a half hack. It's definitely changed the map layout of the sub areas. In fact, when you see the map, it's actually very interesting. This might have the best map I have seen, just with how it's made and all that. So, and that could actually... Okay, so, like I said, I had help with this hack. Right now, at least through the beginning sections, I was playing mostly by myself. Just exploring through. And then later I was playing it while in a stream with 01, and Hiroishi had beat the hack, was explaining some things to me. Honestly, I think that caused me to enjoy the hack a lot more. Excuse me. It's... If I did not have the help in knowing where to go in some of these spots, yeah, it would have been probably a disaster, because, like you see this room, it's a big open room, and I can't really go anywhere right now, but later on, you know, there's just a lot more to explore. And just take a moment to look at the map. It's all labeled and stuff. Later on, there's a map in particular that's really good. So we'll get to see that later. But without any sort of help saying, hey, you might want to check this out, or so on and so forth, I imagine this would get people extremely, extremely lost. Because there's no way you're getting to where you're going the first time through. Maybe not even the 10th time through. Because some of these things are hidden pretty ridiculously. So I'm looking around like a dingbat because I did not see there's a hole in the wall in this room. Quite obvious. And the map kind of shows it too. It's right up where the safe station is. It's like, oh, hey, the thing's open. And this is a nice thing about the hack. Every save station has one of those refill stations nearby, and those refill stations refill everything. Your health and ammo, so that is a very nice thing to have, and would like to see more hacks maybe do that. Either that or combine that with the save station. That might even be even better, sort of like the prime stations. Which would honestly speed things up, make it a little more fluid. So get on that, people do ASM. So yes, anyway, got our missiles. Our beam is blue, just felt like pointing that out. It's a blue shade of purple back there. And look at the nice custom glow on those pipes. Which of course includes blue, but I do appreciate that went through the effort to change that glow. Because Criteria has a lot of glows, but they're not glows aren't the easiest things to edit. So I kind of like that they took the time find out where those are and then go edit them, so that was quite nice. And for the most part, the glows in this game are good. Excuse me. Saying nice things about a hack is hurting me. No, but for the most part, the glows are good. There's an area where the glow that's used, I don't even know what in the world. It's like, why? Why did I don't? Yeah. You'll see it later. So yes, the screen did scroll over there. There is stuff. There's a missile tank back there. So we can't get that yet. Also, in this room, good grief, excuse me, in this room, there is a path which you might have noticed, or you might have to go back, keep looking. It's really not noticeable, honestly. It really isn't. And it's required to find. Stuff like that is what would make this hack really drag out and just sort of approach the territory where it's interesting, but it just isn't fun anymore. So yeah, nothing we can really do in here. I went around and checked to make sure. It's like, there's all these locked doors here. So I went around to make sure. Destroying all the enemies doesn't unlock them. Spoilers, it does not unlock them. So you don't need to worry about doing that yourself. And yes, I forgot there's a super missile door back here. This is a larger hack, so especially later on, I'm referencing the map a lot because it's like, where do I go? How do I get places? There is a very nice feature to this hack, which all large hacks should have, at least in my opinion. That there is a warp area, basically. I wonder if one of these doors has the thing I'm looking for. If it shows up on the screen here, I forget. I am bad at platforming. You know, sometimes it really is painful watching yourself play games. Okay, so that's still not. Okay, so with the warp area, certain doors throughout each map will take you to this warp area. Basically, take you out of that sub-map, put you in a different one, which is where the map really gets interesting, honestly. But while there, you can go to basically any of the other areas. You all have this elevator down that takes you to this new spot. Now that would be annoying if it was just random doors that you ran into took you out of an area that you were trying to explore. But what this hack does really good is every warp door is marked. You'll see a very obvious plain like Ceres tile with a big yellow W on it. It's like, hey, this is a warp area. Make sure you want to go in this door before you actually go into it. So that's nice. You don't have to go up here. In fact, these wall jumps are actually tricky wall jumps. Those are some of the harder wall jumps to get. If you do get up here though, there is a missile. And yes, you can shoot that thing, so don't destroy your platform to the missile. But there's the missile there. I'm just like, hi, I didn't expect you there. So you can get this. I do highly recommend collecting as many missiles, super missiles as possible, because the beam damages have been lowered. They are no longer super effective. That, yeah, didn't quite mean super effective, but yeah. It's honestly something I'm surprised more hacks don't do. Because when you play hacks or play Super Metroid, once you get some beams, certain beams or whatever, there's no point to using missiles anymore. Because your beams are already as strong as them and you can fire them faster, and there's no ammo limitation. So, to make players use ammo more, make it more effective, lower the beam damage. It makes sense. So with that in mind, collect the items. And I have no idea what that says, but apparently we heart bombs in this blue room of death. And his blue eye. Like I am noticing even more blue things than I did when I was playing this. Everything, literally everything, is blue. In fact, the glow that I think really should not have been used on some tiles is blue. I mean, Brinstar is blue. Well, what is the equivalent to Brinstar in this? That's blue. Norfair is blue. The warp area is blue. It's like you can use more than blue. It's pretty ridiculous. Though whatever the wreck ship equivalent is, that is not blue. So I guess there's that. I have to give him credit for at least changing one area's color. Oh, Emerald is blue. So yeah, we got bombs. This opens up. I'm trying to remember here. I guess right here. It opens up that obvious bomb block. So you see right now, this isn't bad. You're stuck in small areas. What you get, it's kind of obvious that, oh hey, I have this, I can now go here. So right now it's not bad, but when it opens up, that's when this hack could really drag out. So that's something if you're ever considering making a hack or making one, just keep that in mind. Especially if it's a big hack, it really could drag out. So just be careful of that. So yes, another save and recharge. I think is there a thing up there? I think there's a missile up here we can get. Yeah, I think this was it. Yep. So yeah, and these wall jumps were easier to do. There was an extra tile there, so we should at least try for this one. And I don't think there was much else we could do. Well, yeah, that was in the way. And actually, we may actually see the warp door tile thing. So yeah, we can't go that way. Yeah, underwater stuff. This was my own fault though, because I jumped down here like a dingbat. And this isn't bad. It's like, oh hey, look, I can get out. Now if you destroy this thing, I'm not sure how easy it would be to get out. So yeah, that big W there. It's like, what's that? You will see that right above every door that takes you to the warp area. So they're clearly marked. These doors are pretty much everywhere. So there's no excuse for not knowing or not being able to get around. Well, actually there is, but you can't fault the lack of warp doors for that, so So anyway, with bombs, we can go... I am really struggling trying to figure out where it is. You can go with bombs. I know it obviously opens something up, but... I mean, you can't just have the hack end right here. It's like, oh, you got bombs, too bad. You're stuck.